In real estate, most companies are selling a similar product, but still some perform better than others.
Brand isn't just how you communicate what you do, but it is also actually what you do. I've worked with clients that are so good at what they do, but they just don't show up like a company that looks like they are good at what they do. If they see you as a low quality brand, they're just gonna respect you less.
What's something real estate agencies, developers, or real estate companies in general could implement right now if they want to improve their branding? In real estate, most companies are selling a similar product. The same projects, the same houses, the same villas, the same apartments, but still some perform better than others. And for a big part, that is marketing, it's sales, and it's relentless follow-up, which is something we talk about a lot on this channel. But another big part of it is your brand and the story that you tell with your brand. Because your brand is not only colors, a website, and a logo. A brand is how you communicate, how you dress. Your brand is your entire communication to your potential clients. And eventually, your brand is the story that you take your clients on. And that's why we are here today with Luke Van Steenderen, who is a branding expert. And today we're going to talk about how you can build a high quality and a high performing brand that will actually make sure that you get clients from it. And that's not just a logo, a website, and some colors. So Luke, welcome. And I'm excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Amazing. We're actually going to do some projects together now with some real estate agencies, and you've actually completely made and developed the lead estate branding and the website as well.
Mm-hmm.
And from my perspective and from Maarten's, my business partner's perspective, it's actually the best service that we ever had working with another company. And that's why we want to have you on board in our team as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, could you tell me a little bit about how you got here and how you actually got into branding? Because we were talking off camera and it's quite an interesting story.
Yeah, sure. So all my life, I was just kind of winging it through high school. I didn't really need to put in a lot of effort. And when it was time to pick my my university and the studies, I didn't put in any effort as well. So I just randomly chose something off a list that sounded like it would make good money in it down the line. But once I was there, I absolutely hated my life. It was data-driven, a lot of math, physics, super boring to me. And I'm a creative person, so I was miserable. I decided to drop out, and two of my best friends were actually starting a business together. That's when they brought me on board to do the creative side, the branding, the website, the ads. And even though the business was a huge failure, we had one sale and it was my uncle. I love that process of creating a brand, and that's basically what kickstarted me in this journey. So started doing brands for other people, started making a little bit of money with it, and started making more money with it. And down the line, I noticed people don't just care about a nice logo. They want to make money. They want to get clients. And that's when I realized we need to look way further than just the colors and the designs. We need to look at the competition. What makes your brand different? Why would people choose you specifically? And how can we make sure that everything in the customer journey is optimized to take someone from first interaction to paying customer to loyal fan?
And what is interesting, I believe that you once said that you kind of wanted to move more towards like more marketing and performance marketing. And then people kept asking you about how great your branding was and that they wanted you to do it for them. And then you kind of realized you switched to more branding, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually, at that point, I realized people want clients. They don't just want a pretty brand. So I completely switched to doing marketing, building the funnels, the websites, the systems. And it was really effective. Like we helped brands grow from just starting out doing 5K per month to doing over 100K per month. It was very effective. But more and more people came to me and said, hey, who did your branding? I was like, I did it myself. They're like, oh, but can you do it for me? I said, no, that's not really what we do anymore. Okay. And I kept getting more and more questions like that. At some point, I was getting more questions about, can you do my branding? Then can you help me run my marketing? So that's when we actually decided we're going to switch. And we're going to do it differently than most agencies. We're going to actually bring together beautiful design that looks premium, attracts bigger clients, and combine that with the strategies that will get you more conversion and more leads. And we bring those together in one.
Yeah, I think what could be interesting in this podcast is to really look at the project that we're starting right now for one of our clients in Spain, a bigger real estate agency, right? And basically go step by step on what the process is like, so that people watching that have a real estate business can basically follow along and kind of implement these processes for themselves, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at our client right now, we just started the process. Like when a client would come to you, when a real estate client would come to you and say like, hey, I want to basically improve my branding or build up an amazing brand, what's kind of the first steps that you would do?
Yeah. So most agencies, they might dive into design, colors, typography, things that look pretty. But I think that's the biggest mistake you can make if you're going to do a rebranding. Because in my opinion, a brand isn't just something that looks pretty. It's also how you position yourself in the market, how you communicate what you do, because ultimately that's what decides who you're going to attract. And in real estate, but in all business, what you want is to attract clients that have budget, that are ready to start with you, that are excited to work with you. And that's why you need to go one step back before you start a project like this. And we usually start our projects with a 3-hour-long kickoff session where we ask questions about the story, their values, their ideal customer, the offer, the competition, everything that is relevant to not just how it looks, but how you position your business. And then we're going to look at the golden nuggets inside of the messaging. So what makes you different? Who can you help way better than anyone else? What are the things you do differently than other people that might attract a better or different audience? Because if you don't differentiate yourself from competitors, especially in real estate, you're going to be just one of many. And they're going to reach out to maybe 5 different real estate agencies, and they don't respect you because you're just one of them. They might ghost you and never respond to your messages again, even though you've invested time and effort.
Yeah.
I think if you position yourself as an expert in something specific, you have a reason for them to want to talk to you. You have a better service. You go further than the other agencies. That's how you become relevant, and you stop competing on price. You start being the only one that does something very specific that they value a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's especially important in real estate. Like I said at the beginning, it's really like what makes you different if you're selling the same projects, especially for real estate agencies, right? But you can also attribute this to project developers, right? What makes your project different from another project, right? For example, we have a lot of partners in Bali. There's a lot of developments going on in Bali, a lot of them in the same area. And yes, they might look different, but what makes you really, really different, right? And I think a lot of that comes down to branding, packaging, and messaging. And it's more than just the colors and the logos, like you just said. I think that's exactly the same process that we went through with you with Lead Estate, right? So can you walk us a little bit through that? Like, how did you approach to create our branding?
Yeah. So when we started out and we had our kickoff session, you said some very interesting things. Most marketing agencies that help real estate companies, they just run the ads and they might give you some numbers like, look, this is what we've done. But you guys go way further. You do the ads, but you also help them with the sales consulting. You go much further in consulting the leadership of the owner of the business so that he knows how to lead his agents. And I think that's where we found some gold that no other company has. That makes you different. It's not just a marketing agency, it's a scaling agency. You help them scale on all fronts that are relevant.
Yeah.
And I think once we found that unique positioning, that was the core brand message. That's something that people can attach to, because a lot of real estate companies have worked with agencies, marketing agencies, and they have been burned many times before. They have wasted ad budget. They received good-looking numbers but no clients. And that sucks. You don't want to waste your budget. So when we found that out, that's the frustration of the market. We basically created a brand story around those frustrations and why Lead Estate is different. And I think that's what people really attach to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's basically what I see with a lot of marketing companies, lead generator companies. They don't have a brand, they have a marketing service and they sell that service, and yes, they post some results and some reviews and that, and of course we do that as well, but they don't take you on a journey, right? And I feel like since we've started working with you, we really started to develop a brand, something that people can feel a part of, right? With our content, with these podcasts, with our reels, with our Instagram, and it's really coming from a point of, hey, we are an authority in this market, which we are, but the branding just makes that even stronger. And that's really the difference that I've seen.
Yeah.
What are some other things for you that you would say, this is the core of branding? This is what you really achieve with the right branding.
I think the most impactful thing about branding is that it, first of all, sets you apart, but it's all about perception. The way people perceive you is going to be the deciding factor in all communication after that. If they see you as a low quality brand, they don't connect to it, they don't feel like the brand looks like high quality, they're just going to respect you less. And it's a shame, because I've worked with clients that are so good at what they do, but they just don't show up like a company that looks like they are good at what they do. So the perceived value of their business just goes down, and the clients or the leads are willing to pay less. They're going to compare them to other people. Whereas a great high quality brand with a good story, a good positioning, premium brand assets that look amazing, they're going to be perceived like a high quality brand that can ask premium prices. So it's the same as if you see a guy walking down the street and he just got out of his Ferrari, your perception of who this person is different. Even though he might be broke, even though he might be a horrible person, you're still going to have this thought like, oh, what does he do? He's interesting. You're going to value his opinion a bit more than other people maybe in business.
Yeah. And I've seen that a lot the other way around as well, because we've worked with some big brands in the luxury real estate industry. But a lot of times we've also seen that on the outside, it looked great. Maybe a well-known brand or amazing marketing, great videos of the villas, great social media, great website. And then when we actually started working with them internally, it was a chaos. Or we would hear from people that they actually didn't deliver a good service, or they weren't able to close the deals after we delivered great appointments, right? So a brand in that way could maybe, backfire on you in that way. Or like what's happening internally, that could backfire on it, because, you should live your brand as well. It's not like, oh, we have a nice branding. And yes, that would help. Without the nice branding, they would probably not sell anything, right? So what's your thoughts on that? That people would have an amazing brand, but then not really a great service or a great, business in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I've chosen to only work with companies that actually deliver great client results. I think that's the number one most important thing, because you can get clients, but if they're going to be unhappy, if they're going to have a horrible experience, not only are they not coming back, they're going to tell everyone about their horrible experience, and your brand's reputation is going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing we always look at. What are the client experiences like? What are the reviews like? If it's not a 4.8 or higher, we're not going to work with you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's something that we do at Lead Estate as well. What a lot of marketing agencies do is they sell advertising, which we have done for a long time as well. But they say, hey, you need leads, here is marketing. But we actually don't want to work with a company if they don't have their internal structures in place, because we've experienced too many times that we get the blame for not generating high quality leads, and then we figure out that that's not the case. It's just internally they're not followed up with correctly, or the processes are simply not in place. So that's why we help people now as well with building out custom software, sales dashboards, accountability, consulting, to make sure that the processes and systems and protocols and the leadership is in place to actually take on more leads. So we only want to work with a company, at least in advertising, when they have that in place. And I think that's what a lot of marketing companies don't do. They just sell leads, and then, of course, you're not going to get any results, right? So I really appreciate that on your side as well, that you only want to work with those companies. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. And I think also what people don't get is that if you have these horrible experiences, especially in this day and age with social media, these things spread. It's going to destroy your reputation and you're going to lose all business. And I think also if you want to create a really good brand, you need to be able to say no to clients. I think that's a great case study of this is one of my clients, a business club. Before they launched their brand, they took a step back and talked to 20 or 30 entrepreneurs that have experiences with being in a business club. They asked them questions like, what do you hate about most business clubs? What are you missing there that is very valuable to you? They took all of that data and they created an ultimate offer and a brand message that resonated with those people, that basically set them apart from all of the other business clubs immediately. And once they did that and they launched, they got 30 clients in a matter of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And once they started investing in the brand and the website, which we did for them, then launching the ads, it just took off completely. And now they have almost 140 members. Most members continue their subscription because they're so happy. So a brand isn't just how you communicate what you do, but it is also actually what you do. And the only reason they were able to grow this fast is also because they just say no to people. Because a lot of complaints about business clubs was, yeah, there's a lot of people that are just trying to sell you things. There's a lot of people that are low level. They cannot have the same conversations as the ones that I want to have with other high level entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So they say no to 50 to 80% of the leads they get. And that's how they get a high quality client service delivery.
Yeah, I have the same with some friends. They organize trips for business owners, and sometimes, of course, they have people paying a lot of money, saying like, "Hey, I want to go on these trips. Here's more money than you asked me for," because they maybe have a lot of money. But if it doesn't fit with the group, then they won't let that person in, which is really good because it protects their brand, right? And so that's also related to a brand, right? Protecting your brand with who you let in and who you leave out, of course, to make sure that brand is intact for the people that do come in.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's very, very interesting. So yeah, to get into the topic that we discussed a little bit already, is that you just don't want to do just branding and just websites. You want to make sure that they actually convert into clients and into the clients that you actually want, right? So how do you really focus on not just creating branding and a brand for people, but making sure that brand actually converts?
Yeah, good question. I think, of course, it's for a little bit what we've already talked about with the brand strategy. That's very important to choose. What we do is we analyze the ideal customer that you want to attract. And then I'm talking not about all customers and then the average of that, but we take the 20% of your most ideal clients, the top 20%. And then we look at their pain points, their situation, their frustrations, their goals, their desires, everything. And we try to find patterns that only those people have, that the other people don't. And once we found that, then that's what's going to be the brand message. That's the kind of people we want to attract. And then it's just a matter of looking at the entire customer journey. So what are the different ways people can get their first touch point of contact with you? Is that ads? Is that social media? Is that referrals? And once we've mapped that, okay, what are the journeys people can take to go from that first point of contact to paying customer? What are the conversations that are happening? What are the digital assets they will take a look at? Is that just a website? Will they get on your email list and receive a brochure? Will they look at your social media? All of those assets need to be mapped. And once they are mapped, then we can write out the ideal customer journey and optimize every asset to take people from that step towards the next one. I think that's where most people get it wrong, is they see a website as this digital business card, just something to show that you're alive and that you do what you do.
Yeah.
I see it as an entire system that guides people from seeing you for the first time to maybe opting in for a newsletter or downloading a brochure. Once they're on your email list, you send them back to the website to a specific page with more information. And from there, they might click to fill out a form to get more information about the offer. And maybe from there, they're sent to a booking page. And once they've booked, we send them to a post-booking page where they get more information about the clients you've helped, the results they've gotten. So it's an entire customer journey that's engineered to get you more leads, and also to, once you have those leads, nurture them so that once they get on a call with you, they're already pre-sold. They know what you do.
Yeah.
They know what makes you different. They know why they should be working with you and no one else.
Yeah.
And that's how you get high quality, warm leads that will actually turn into clients.
Yeah, and we've actually experienced this, right? That I got on a call, and of course it's the content that we make, but all the content that we make is fully in branding, right? That we've created together.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have a call, and someone goes on the call, and he's like, "I've seen all your content, and I just want to work with you. I just need to know the numbers." Right? And that's really what a brand does. What you see now as well, you see, of course, a lot of AI coming in, and AI being able to create websites and the branding of companies in seconds. Well, how do you experience that? Is that something that you use to your benefit, or do you have a different approach?
Yeah. Well, right now, AI is completely revolutionizing the business world. It's making it much easier for people to start a business, so the barrier of entry is lower, and it's also much easier for them to develop new systems and solutions. So the innovation in the market is completely switching as well, and it's picking up pace rapidly. So that's actually the first reason why people cannot be sitting still and just have a website from 5 years ago, because the new players are coming into the market, and they're coming with new innovations, and they're going to eat your market share away. At the same time, there's a lot of new players coming into the market that have no idea what they're doing. They just are able to launch a business because anyone can do that right now. And they're going to have clients that have a horrible experience, and they are going to trust the market less. So what we see right now, there is a trust recession. People are not just reaching out to businesses anymore. They're doing their research online. And I think that's why it's right now more than ever important to have a high quality brand that looks premium. If they do research and they find you, everything should look high quality. And I think AI is great at making a prototype, a V1, perfect if you're starting out with your first business. But if you want to actually communicate your expertise, make sure that the website is conversion optimized and have everything look really pretty, well, then I think AI is just not there. AI is great at technical stuff, analyzing data, developing systems and tools, even developing websites, but the design and the strategy behind it and the text, the copywriting you put on the page, it's just not there. I feel like it misses soul.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
And I think people don't connect to that at all. All the AI websites these days, they look the same and they feel the same. And it's really funny because at the beginning of the year, I was scared. I was afraid people will not come to me for this service anymore. But what I'm seeing now actually is really funny. People come to me because they don't want an AI website.
Yeah.
They see their competition fall back to these cheap solutions that look like shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I don't want that. It looks horrible. And they don't feel connected anymore. So that's why they come to me and they're like, we want a human, high quality brand that people will resonate with.
Yeah.
So I feel like right now, an actual high quality brand and website is a way to differentiate yourself in the market and connect deeper with your customers.
And I see that in our market as well. Like you have a lot of companies doing either voice AI or AI bots, which is still very efficient. But it's very, very important that it has soul and that people connect with it. And everyone likes to use AI, but on the consumer's end, people don't mind if AI is used as long as they don't notice it, right? They understand that AI is used, but they don't want to notice it. Every time you see an EM dash in a post or whatever, then it's like, oh, well, that's written with AI. People kind of look down on it, you know? So it's okay if you use it in the back end, but you don't want it to show when you present yourself or in your communication in that way.
Especially when it comes to actual client communication.
Yeah.
I've noticed this as well. You don't want people to have a feeling like they talk to a chatbot. I think AI should be used to automate the things that are low leverage, that we don't enjoy doing, that don't require connection or high level thinking. But when it comes to the digital systems, like for us, we design the websites by hand. But once we have the design, AI is great at doing the development. And that doesn't matter because it's going to look the same whether a human developed it or AI developed it. But where humans keep excelling is the creativity and the connection.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to an AI. I want to speak to a human. I want to feel like they understand me and that they care about me. And that's how you build a client relationship that doesn't just make them clients, but fans.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell other people about who you are and what you do. And the fire will spread. And I think we should use this opportunity of AI to invest more time and effort and energy in those clients.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we communicate to clients as well. Since we now develop AI systems, custom software, it's not necessarily that it could entirely replace your team. For huge companies, of course, that would be possible, but it is using AI so that your team or you can put all of your creative effort and your relationship building efforts into what your skill is, because what I see is that if you need to build your every website manually, right? You have less time or less energy to put into the creative process, right? And AI allows you to save time on the things that are just repetitive tasks and just tasks behind your desk. So you can use your expertise on those things, right? And the same goes for our clients. If we implement some software that can help a sales manager analyze sales calls better or keep the team accountable, then, he can put more time into actually listening to sales calls, to the tonality of the person or the attitude of the person on sales calls, instead of constantly checking salespeople on if they have followed up with the lead, if they've done the qualification, because AI can do all of those things, but it can actually help that sales manager focus more on the creative and more on the human part to make the human part even better. I think that's a big difference.
And I think also, like I said earlier, I feel like right now we're in a trust recession. People trust businesses less than ever before. And I think the biggest way to create an attractive brand is to have great customer experiences everywhere, on your website, on your social media. And I'm not just talking about written Google reviews. I'm talking about case studies about their entire experience, the before situation, the steps they've taken, the after situation, maybe a client interview. I think that way, when you really help people to become a happy customer, they're much more willing to communicate that and to share their story with people, maybe even on your website. And I think that's actually one of the biggest ways we help our clients, is to find out who were those happy clients. How can we make sure that they feel comfortable with sharing their story so you can attract more of those people? And I think that's what separates a decent website, even if it's high conversion, from a website that will actually get you results, is that those websites will need to have customer experiences and case studies. I think that's what's going to build the trust and make them feel like, okay, I can actually work with those people. I can reach out and feel like they are the right person for me.
Yeah. And I think especially in real estate, it's all about the connection. And the brand behind that connection is very important. But like we said in the beginning, if two real estate agencies sell the same project or the same villa, who do you choose? Well, the one that you trust the most and that you have the best connection with. And of course, like I said, the brand is very important in that, and the brand should communicate that connection as well. That's very important. And, that's something that now, to get back to our conversation about AI, is kind of missing sometimes.
And I also feel like it's really funny because we are specialized in brands, but humans don't connect to brands. They connect to humans.
Yeah.
And that's why I spend usually an hour of my first deep dive call with my client talking about their journey, their story. How did they roll into this field of expertise? How did they find out what clients really want? And how did they find a way to deliver that in a really good way?
Yeah.
So if we look at the client that we started working on together recently, the business owner is a Dutch man that has been living in Spain for his entire life. He started his real estate company with his father at 18 years old, 32 years ago. And he experienced firsthand how people in that area were helped. And it was a horrible experience because they don't speak Spanish. So Dutch people buying a home in Spain are having a really hard time. So he took his skills of speaking Spanish. He learned to communicate to the local authorities. He learned how the law works, so he can translate all of the documents that they need to sign.
Yeah.
So people don't just get a home in Spain. They get a complete service delivery that makes them feel like everything is okay. They help them set up their homes. They help them set up the electricity, the water. They help them get their children in school.
Yeah.
That's something people connect to. That's a company that cares.
Yeah.
That's a business owner that cares.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're doing so well. And that's why I have a great time working with them. Because it's so easy for us to help them stand out.
Yeah.
None of the agencies do that. None of the agencies care enough about clients to go that far. And that's why they will keep winning.
Yeah. And I can repeat something now that we discussed in another podcast with Lucas, who's a sales expert in real estate. And he basically talked about commission breath, right? This is something that has a soul, the company that we're working on right now. But now there's a big influx of everyone who's trying to be a real estate agent, helping people buy a house in Dubai or in Spain or wherever, and they have commission breath, which basically means that their breath smells like that they're out for a commission. You know what I mean? And that's the complete opposite of what we're talking about here, about our client who actually has a soul, and well, the business has a soul because they've been doing this for a long time, and that's a story they can tell, right? And that's really, really interesting. So what I wanted to touch on is something that we always try to do at Lead Estate is we try to make as much impact as possible with every video or every contact point that we make with people in general. What's something that real estate agencies, developers, or real estate companies in general could implement right now if they want to improve their branding? Let's say they start from scratch. Do you have some form of exercise that they can do or something that they can implement right now while they're watching this podcast?
Yeah. Well, the first step they can take is completely free and pretty easy to do. It's taking a look at the market that you're in, talking to people that are your ideal client in this market, and figuring out what do they hate, what are the frustrations about other people in the market, what are they missing, how do they want to get helped but are not getting help that way. Once you find out that information, that is your story, that's your brand. Just connect that to a personal value you have, and you will already see that people are going to resonate with you way more than any of the other players. Business is just solving problems. And if everyone's solving the same problem, you're just a number. But if you're the one that's taking a stance, that has a mission to do things differently and in a better way, then people will choose you. And of course, it helps to have a beautiful brand that looks pretty and an amazing website. But if you skip that first step, it's going to be worthless.
Yeah, you could have an amazing brand, an amazing website, amazing colors, but if the content that you're making doesn't make any sense, then that brand doesn't really do anything. It's the communication in front of or behind that brand that really makes the difference. And we've seen that with our company as well. Like, I've really looked at what's happening within the marketing, sales, consulting, agency world for real estate. And you see that it's all leads, it's all clicks to the website, and basically taking no responsibility of what comes after sending a lead. And we are like, well, we take as much responsibility as we can over the entire marketing and sales process. But included with that is that we expect clients to take as much responsibility and leadership as well over the entire process, right? And that's something that we really resonate with and our clients really resonate with. And that is our philosophy in a way. So I would say if someone watching this really wants to strengthen their brand, really look at what is your philosophy compared to what are your clients missing? What is your potential, your target audience? What are they missing from real estate agencies or from other developers, project developers? And what do you see in the market? If you look at competitors, what are they not doing that you don't agree with? That you think like, this is ridiculous. Why wouldn't you do this and this and this? Because this doesn't help your customer or your client the right way. And that really forms kind of your philosophy of how you help your clients. And that's really something we focused on with Lead Estate. And I think that's something that a lot of people could learn from as well.
Yeah, amazing.
When someone has done this exercise, when they've written everything out and feel, okay, I really have the core philosophy of my business, what's the next step in terms of branding?
Yeah, the next step would be to map out that customer journey and really find what the most impactful touch points are, where they're going to create that first relationship with their audience, and then optimize every single asset to not just be as impactful as possible and conversion optimized as possible, but also to look beautiful. Because if you look at, I think this is a beautiful analogy. If you look, for example, at a water bottle in a supermarket and you see it's €4, you think, why is it €4? This is crazy. If you go to the airport and you buy a water bottle and it's €4, you're like, oh, that makes sense. It's fine. It's about it's about where you show up and how that situation compares to the price.
Yeah.
If you look at a brand like Aesop, it's a soap brand. They are able to sell soap for $39. If you see a $39 soap in a random supermarket, you're not going to buy it. But their stores look amazing. It's highly designed architecture. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So if you put a $39 soap there, then people feel like it's in place. And I think that's what you need to do ultimately with your brand as well, is to create a layer around your business where people feel like, wow, this is high quality.
Yeah.
And this is what I can expect from the brand, which is going to help you charge a premium price.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess people identify with it as well, you know. I guess people rather want to sell their home with a luxury brand that is well known, you know. They kind of feel an identity with it, or they want to post it on social media, or they feel like it gives them status in a way working with you or buying that soap brand, right? Posting it on social media. I think that's very, very important as well.
It's status signaling.
Yeah, it's status. And I love where you touched on, okay, we have the philosophy now, and a lot of people would say, okay, yeah, let's now create the colors on the website. But I guess it's philosophy, but also, okay, in which touch points does that philosophy reach your clients? So that's, okay, the first contact, that's maybe the first phone call or an advertisement or the content that you post on social media. Okay, but if they schedule a call, that's a scheduling page. Or if they have the first meeting, the Google Meet invite or the meeting invite should be in your branding, right? And your messaging. And then you send a proposal. Then you go and they come visit to view the property, right? And you give them a brochure, for example, right? Every touch point, that branding and that messaging should be present, right? So your philosophy is more, okay, what do you say? How do you communicate? That needs to be in there. But then also the colors and the logo and everything, which I guess is the third step.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So I hope that was really valuable for people. So if they want to create a brand like this, I guess what they should do is click somewhere around this video, message us. We would schedule a call with Luke and me maybe, you could do a complete deep dive into their entire branding, right? Like, can you explain a little bit how that process would work if people watching this would see like, hey, this is something I really want to implement? What would you say to those people, and what would you do if they would message us and schedule a call with you to see what we can do for them?
Yeah, if this podcast resonated and you feel like you would like to speak to me, feel free to just reach out. We can book a 15-minute call. I can look at your brand strategy, your website, and give you some feedback, show you where the opportunities are. If it's a match, I'd love to get on a call, really find the gold in your brand. And yeah, if it's a match, if you feel like you want to take your brand to the next level, then we can work together.
Amazing. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.